Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into a plant that is just as powerfully calming as it is breathtakingly beautiful. This, of course, is the passionflower, a natural remedy that people have turned to for centuries to soothe their minds.
I mean, in this day and age, who isn't, right? We're all looking for a way to quiet the noise to get a truly good night's sleep. And, sometimes the answer is growing right outside our door.
So what is the secret? Well, it's not just that it's gorgeous. It's that this flower has this incredible ability to gently calm our entire nervous system. So how on earth did this wild, exotic-looking bloom become one of the go-to herbal remedies for stress and sleepless nights?
To really get why this flower is so special, we have to go way back. And trust me, its backstory is pretty incredible. We're talking a journey that spans ancient medicine, colonial exploration, and even some pretty deep religious symbolism.
So its story starts way before Europeans ever saw it. Native American tribes, like the Cherokee, knew it as maypop. They used it for everything: food, medicine. But when Spanish missionaries showed up in the 16th century, whoa, they saw something completely different. They saw a message from God. Then, flash forward a couple hundred years, and it's become this respected sedative in Western medicine, a really gentle, non-addictive option.
You hear the name passionflower and you probably think of romance, right? Well, nope, not even close. Those missionaries back in the 16th century were so blown away by the flower's structure that they named it Passiflora, which literally means flower of the passion, because they believed it told the story of the crucifixion.
I mean, just look at how they saw it all laid out. The wild, fringe-like filaments? That was the crown of thorns. The 5 stamens symbolized the 5 wounds. The 3 stigmas were the nails. Even the petals and sepals represented the 10 faithful apostles. It's just an amazing blend of botany and belief.
Okay, that's the amazing history. Now let's get our hands dirty, so to speak. If you're going to use passionflower, you absolutely have to know you've got the right one. We are talking specifically about the species Passiflora incarnata, also known as maypop.
So what exactly are you looking for? First off, this thing is a climber. It's going to want to go up. Now pay really close attention to the leaves. That's your biggest clue. They usually have 3 very distinct lobes with serrated, kind of jagged edges. And of course, you can't miss that iconic flower with its crazy purple and white filaments. And if you're lucky, you might even find its edible yellow fruit, the maypop.
And I gotta say, getting this right is so important. It's really easy to mix it up with the ornamental blue passionflower you see in a lot of gardens. The key difference is in the leaves. Our medicinal maypop usually has 3 jagged lobes. The ornamental one, it often has 5 smooth-edged ones. So remember, when in doubt, count your lobes.
All right, so we know the history. We know what it looks like. But how does it work? How does the flower actually produce that feeling of calm? Well, the science behind it is pretty fascinating and surprisingly elegant.
It all comes down to a neurotransmitter in your brain called GABA. The easiest way to think about GABA is as the brake pedal for your brain. You know when your mind is racing or you're feeling anxious, GABA is what steps in to tell everything to just slow down. It dials back the nerve cell activity and helps you relax.
So, what's inside the passionflower that makes all this happen? Well, it's these awesome natural compounds called flavonoids. These are basically the active ingredients, the little powerhouses that are doing all the heavy lifting. And here's the really cool part. The flavonoids in passionflower don't just, flood your system or knock you out. They're way smarter than that. They simply help your brain's own natural brake pedal, that GABA, work a little bit better. It's like they give it a gentle boost, helping to turn down all that mental chatter without the heavy side effects you might get from other things.
So are you feeling inspired to try this yourself? Good, because now we're going to walk through everything you need to know to take this amazing plant from your garden all the way to a soothing cup of tea. Honestly, growing this plant is super rewarding, and it's not that hard. It really only needs 4 basic things to be happy. Tons of sun, soil that drains well so its feet don't get soggy, something strong for it to climb on, like a trellis, and plenty of water, especially when it's growing like crazy in the summer. Get those right and you are golden.
All right, when it's time to harvest, timing is key. You want to do it on a dry morning, right when the flowers are in full bloom. And here's the golden rule for keeping your plant happy and healthy: never take more than 1/3 of it at once. You can just hang the leaves and flowers in small bundles to dry until they're brittle, and then pop them in an airtight jar.
And now for the best part, making that perfect cup of calming tea. You'll want about 1 to 2 teaspoons of the dried herb for each cup. Pour your boiled water over it, and now, this little step is a game changer. Cover your mug while it steeps for about 10 to 15 minutes. That lid traps all the good stuff, all those beneficial oils, keeping them in your tea instead of letting them float away. Then just strain it and sip it about an hour before you want to hit the hay.
So, you've grown it, you've brewed it, what's it actually going to do for you? Let's talk about the real validated benefits and, just as important, how to use it safely.
When you look at all the research and the centuries of traditional use, it really boils down to three main things. It's fantastic for reducing anxiety, it's famous for improving sleep quality, and it can even help ease muscle tension and spasms.
And look, this isn't just some old folktale. The science is there. Clinical studies have shown that passionflower extracts can seriously reduce symptoms of generalized anxiety disorder, get this, at a level comparable to some pharmaceuticals, but with fewer side effects. That's a huge deal.
So, a good way to think about Passionflower is that it has this amazing 2-for-1 deal going on. It's an anxiolytic, which is just a fancy word for anxiety reducing, and it's also a hypnotic, which means it helps you sleep. That double action is what makes it so useful.
And here's where you can get really creative. Passionflower is a great team player. You can mix it with other calming herbs like chamomile or lemon balm. For a little extra sleep-inducing power, it works great with something stronger like valerian root.
Okay, and we have to end with a really important safety note. While Passionflower is considered super safe for most people, it is always a smart move to chat with your doctor or a qualified herbalist before you start something new, especially if you're pregnant, nursing, or on any other medications.
So, we'll leave you with this final thought. There's something really beautiful about the connection between caring for a plant that brings you calm and, well, learning how to cultivate that same calm inside yourself. Maybe that simple act of gardening is where the real magic begins.